What if the USA tried to take back the Panama Canal by force? Picture this: a daring move by the United States to forcibly reclaim control of the Panama Canal, one of the most critical trade routes in the world. What would the repercussions be? How would this impact the fragile balance of international relations, global trade, and regional stability? The Panama Canal isn't just a marvel of engineering. It's a powerful symbol of sovereignty, pride, and economic strength. Any attempt to retake it would ignite a firestorm of consequences. Today, we'll explore this bold hypothetical scenario, from the history of the canal to the far-reaching geopolitical, economic, and legal consequences. Let's uncover what would happen if the U.S. pursued this controversial path. If you enjoy exploring fascinating alternate history scenarios, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more thought-provoking content. The story of the Panama Canal begins in the late 19th century. The French attempted to build it first, but they were defeated by treacherous terrain, engineering failures, and deadly diseases like malaria and yellow fever. It wasn't until the United States took over the project in 1904 that success became possible. With advanced engineering techniques and revolutionary sanitation measures, led by Colonel William C. Gorgas, the U.S. managed to overcome these challenges. Finally, on the 15th of August 1914, the Panama Canal opened. It was a transformative achievement that revolutionized global trade. It cut shipping distances by nearly 8,000 miles, allowing goods to flow more efficiently between the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. But the canal was more than a trade route. It symbolized U.S. power and engineering dominance. However, tensions over sovereignty began to grow. By the 20th century, Panamanians demanded control of the canal, seeing it as a matter of national pride and independence. This led to the signing of the Torrijos-Carter Treaties in 1977, which transferred control of the canal to Panama by the end of 1999. The handover marked a new chapter for Panama. But what if the U.S. decided to take it back by force? Such an act would immediately trigger a global crisis. Latin America, a region with a long history of U.S. interventions, would see this as a return to imperialism. Panama, in particular, views the canal as a cornerstone of its national identity. The backlash wouldn't stop at Latin America. The United Nations, the Organization of American States, and major global powers would condemn the action. Countries like China and Russia, eager to challenge U.S. dominance, would likely seize the opportunity to strengthen ties with Panama and its allies. In essence, this act could reignite old grievances, strain international alliances, and isolate the United States on the global stage. In Latin America, a U.S. military move would be met with fierce resistance, both politically and socially. Protests across the region would call for collective action to stand against American interference. China, already deeply invested in global trade and infrastructure, would not stand idly by. The Panama Canal is a critical link in its Belt and Road Initiative. Any disruption could lead to China offering economic or even military support to Panama. Russia, always looking for opportunities to challenge U.S. influence, might also step in with weapons, funding, or diplomatic backing. European nations, heavily reliant on the canal for shipping, would likely push for a peaceful resolution to avoid a disruption in global trade. The Panama Canal handles around 6% of global trade, serving as a vital artery for goods like oil, electronics, and agricultural products. A military conflict over the canal would cause massive disruptions. Shipping costs would skyrocket. Supply chains, already fragile in today's world, would face delays. Prices on everyday goods could soar, triggering inflation worldwide. For Panama, the canal represents over 7% of its GDP. Losing control of this asset would devastate the nation's economy, potentially leading to political instability and widespread hardship. The U.S. wouldn't escape unscathed. Economic retaliation from trading partners, sanctions, and disrupted trade routes could damage American industries and strain its economy. Legally, such an act would be indefensible. The Torrijos-Carter Treaties established the canal as a neutral international waterway under Panama's sovereignty. Violating these agreements would not only undermine international law, but also erode trust in the U.S. as a global leader. The Panamanian Constitution explicitly protects the canal from foreign control. Any attempt to seize it would face overwhelming legal and diplomatic challenges, both from Panama and the international community. The Panama Canal has always been a strategic asset. During World War II, it allowed the U.S. Navy to move quickly between oceans, a crucial advantage in the war effort. Today, the canal remains vital, not just for military strategy, but as a linchpin of global trade. Its 2016 expansion to accommodate larger ships only added to its significance. While the U.S. benefits greatly from access to the canal, reclaiming it by force would risk alienating allies and damaging its long-term interests. For Panamanians, the canal is more than an economic asset. It's a symbol of their sovereignty. Losing control of it would spark outrage. Massive protests, strikes, and possibly violent resistance would likely erupt, uniting Panamanians against U.S. actions. The government would frame this as a fight for independence, rallying the nation and further isolating the U.S. in the process. Let's consider some possible outcomes. The U.S. would face widespread condemnation from the international community, including the United Nations, the Organization of American States, and key global powers like China and Russia. These entities would likely label the action as an act of imperialism and a violation of Panamanian sovereignty. Economic sanctions would follow, leading to disruptions in global trade relationships. U.S. allies, such as European nations, Canada, and Latin American countries, would be forced to publicly distance themselves, deepening divisions within international alliances. This would ultimately strain U.S. diplomatic credibility, isolate it from key global forums, and hinder its ability to lead in other international matters. Panama and its regional allies, particularly countries like Colombia, would be compelled to respond to the U.S. intervention. This could lead to swift mobilization, with protests turning into violent clashes and demonstrations across Latin America. Furthermore, neighboring nations, such as Venezuela and Cuba, could view this as an opportunity to amplify anti-U.S. sentiment and provide direct military or logistical support to Panama. The situation could spiral into a broader regional conflict, drawing in other countries with interests in Latin America, like Russia, which may seek to challenge U.S. influence in the region. If the U.S. took control of the Panama Canal, other global trade powers like China, Europe, and even smaller countries would quickly seek alternatives. These nations, heavily reliant on the canal for goods transit, would begin investing in the development of other routes. The Suez Canal, Arctic shipping lanes, and alternative sea routes through Africa would become more attractive. This shift could permanently diminish the strategic value of the Panama Canal, reducing its dominance in global trade. Long-term, the canal could see a decrease in traffic, leading to financial losses for the U.S. and Panama, while new trade routes take precedence. Domestically, this action would provoke heated debate and significant criticism from both political parties in the U.S. Citizens, already wary of increasing military interventions abroad, would voice concern about the ethical and financial costs of reclaiming the canal by force. Economic retaliation from trading partners, coupled with sanctions and the disruption of global supply chains, would lead to rising prices, shortages, and job losses in American industries. Public opinion would turn against such a military endeavor, with protests emerging across the U.S., especially in cities dependent on global trade and logistics. The long-term fallout could destabilize political support for interventionist foreign policies, leading to diminished trust in U.S. leadership abroad. The Panama Canal is far more than a waterway. It's a symbol of sovereignty, an economic lifeline, and a strategic asset. Attempting to take it by force would unleash a storm of consequences: diplomatic isolation, economic turmoil, and regional instability. In today's interconnected world, such an action would likely do more harm than good. The canal may be vital, but so are the principles of sovereignty and international law that govern modern geopolitics. Ultimately, this scenario serves as a reminder of the delicate balance between history, power, and progress, and the far-reaching consequences of disrupting that balance. What do you think? Could such a move ever be justified? Or would it be a catastrophic mistake? Let us know in the comments below.